Because this channel is run through donations, you know, I don't make a living out of doing this. I'm just a guy with a camera. I've got to sell a lot of gear in order to buy more gear, in order to review that. I really can't bring myself to get rid of some packs. I will be keeping 2 of my Bergens. I've decided that already. I won't tell you. We'll go in and have a look. Oh my good God, it's worse than I thought. This is what happens when you can't bring yourself to throw anything away. And I know I want to keep a lot of this. Perhaps it just does need tidying. Let me put a light on. But I've got to get rid of a lot of kit that I just don't use. And there's some stoves I like and some I'll never use. This was my first ever Bergen. I've got a part to find for that. The large Alice, this is going. So I've got 1 to keep, 1 to go. Right, let me get these packs into some kind of order. Decide which ones I'm keeping, which I'm not. And emptying the packs, see what's in them. But we're going to start off with the Cyclops by Berghaus. Because I've got separate lightweight packs for lightweight kit. I've got a more durable pack for a more durable duty. Let's just see what I have in here. It is a homemade top quilt, I think this is, for my hammock and also my ground system. Used to be a sleeping bag, but I've just taken the zip out, given it a face port there. So the pre-pack, or the mini Bergen, and it is just like a mini Bergen but without a hip belt, and that works in conjunction with the webbing. But I did need to put on a security belt if I don't use webbing, to keep it round my hips, otherwise it'll fall, it drags on shoulders. This might be going on the for sale pile. It's just never really worked out for what I wanted it for. But it's a nylon, and nylon with ladder, it's not very tough. So like I said, it was going to be for a day pack, but I can afford to get rid of this. It's already been replaced. I think maybe it would go on the car boot for sale, this one. And an Avon bottle inside. I wondered where that had gone. What else? I wondered where this was as well, actually. It's a kind of a Helicon clone, which is a waterproof jacket, which is fleece lined. It's actually quite warm, very waterproof, but it's only a cheap little clone. So check the pockets. Maybe I could get 2 or 3 quid for this. Doesn't have many litres, yet a tremendous amount of weight to it. It does have the straps here that would have originally clamped a radio pack, you know, the big one, but a laptop again would fit in there. It's a gorgeous pack, really is. Just far too heavy for what is essentially something to put my waterproofs in, but that is going on an auction site. That is the lichen. Again, we already know this is going on the for sale pile. Again, I haven't had the use out of it. I find the frame, unless you can put some padding behind this X frame, very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. It really does dig in your back. You need to pad that up. I used to put my hammock there, but this we already know. For sale pile, this is holding its price. There's no need for me to drop the price on that. These are becoming quite expensive to buy, so hopefully get some good money for this, put it towards other kit, and then we can do a few more episodes. The Northern Ireland patrol set, totally modified. Pocket on the front, like a medipack. One double ammo giant rockets on either side. So I've taken it from 5 litres either side to 10 litres. And I was just about to put this on the car boot sale. And I noticed that the shoulder strap is absolutely decayed. It feels like ball bearings. It's all shattered. That side is fine, but I don't know what's happened to that. I can't sell that. I mean, I'll keep it and strip it for Kajura, just so I can have the fabric to make repairs to other packs. But yeah, I can't sell that. This is the Cadet Bergen. I've added on a helmet carry, which is great for putting your roll pad there, your foam pad. 50 litres, a lot lighter than the Bergen, a lot easier to carry as well than the full-size PLCE. I did a video to see how much kit I could get from the senior CS95 Bergen to this, and it all went in. Anything I had in the 100 litre Bergen went into this 50 Cadet. Now it's not a Kajura, it's a polyester, and yet I've had it a long time, no rips, no tears, and it has not been overly treated with care. So it just goes to show you can actually use a good polyester like that. It's an incredible pack. This is a keeper. Combat UK, I've sewn on this pouch here and mollied on a fast response there. This is probably going for sale. This one will need replacing. I'm thinking of the Camelback mother load. It'll allow me to put my waterproofs in a bash and a stove. Day packs, remember, patrol packs don't need the sleeper bag and everything like that. And I think we're done. So I made 3 piles. My pile that I'm keeping I thought would be a difficult decision, and actually my for sale pile is quite big. Only 2 here that I'm keeping is the Cadet. I absolutely love it. It's nice, lightweight. It's the Cyclops Crusader Berghaus. Okay, returning to the command bunker, and I've tubbed up some of my gear, but here's an air pad. Let's grab a tent. What else would I need? A sleeping bag, which we'll do last. I have a liner, which I use. Let's chuck in the liner, and this time stow these items into the pack, which is another way of stowing your gear if you have plenty of room. And in goes a pad, a little blanket, and there's a reason why that is. Little trekking pole tent. So this is my 24 hours, Friday night, Monday morning kind of a kit. And all I have to do is throw a sleeping bag at this and the stove set, some food, good to go. So I can stow kit in the pack itself. So this is an option. Now you can't stow sleeping bags in their compression because it doesn't do any good for the actual insulation. It'll break it down too much, it'll ruin the insulation, unless you have a fibre such as a fleece sleeping bag. Fishing sleeping bags are generally fleece, not always, but mostly. And a Climb Shield Apex. Now those you can stow compressed. And as a survival prep using something like a Climb Shield Apex, which you can stow compressed, is a great idea, because then you can just grab the pack and go. If you try and stow something other than Climb Shield Apex or a fleece, it's going to degrade the insulation over time. Now, I did tell you I was going to keep a bug out bag and a camping pack, which I am. And before I'll show you that, we need to disappear another 2 packs. I have 2 of these Berghaus. One I use as a bug out bag, as where something like this, a Saracen, 130 litres I've had out of that, is more an inch pack. Inch stands for I'm never coming home. So it's a bug out bag on steroids. There'll be more wearables, a lot more food, and some tooling. When the food runs out, when the rations run out, I have to have something in here so I can replenish my own food. So that's going to be things like a fishing set. That's going to be things like hunting and trapping. That is going to be things like foraging. So I'm going to have to know how to make traps, know how to fish, and know what plants I can forage that are safe to eat. So it's more knowledge based and not equipment based, although it is a big pack. I need to find a place for a couple of these tents, which I'm keeping. The Saracen will be hidden away out of sight until the build has been completed. Same story with this, empty it, hide it. I was toying with the idea of getting rid of this Saracen, but it is a good pack and it will make a good inch pack. Some of the weirdest stuff I hear in the comments is because it is a camo, it's going to look suspicious and will scare people. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Also, another point of confusion is webbing on my channel. Civvies will always cry like little slapped arse bitches about it in the comments. This is food and clothing. This big bag of food will sustain me for a much bigger disaster. This is where you're stationed in at home. I'm going to give you a little example. Just say, for argument's sake, nuclear Armageddon, and everyone's got this bug out bag mentality. Here's the question I'm going to pose. Where the hell do you think you're going to go with this bug out bag with all this nuclear radiation falling? And somebody is bound to say, I've got a gas mask and I've got an NBC suit. It's going to be a one-off deal, your NBC suit and gas mask, unless you can decontaminate it each and every time you go out. So during a lockdown, I need to eat, and this is for me. But it can afford to go into a different room and free up some space. Stoves we're going to take outside. It's a lovely day. These are the stoves and pots I'll be keeping. This Swiss Army, bit bulky, but would suit the bushcrafter a lot better than a prepper or anyone for camping. Not that it can't be used, just not for me. It's too big for the small amount of food that I have. This handle here planks about, it gets tangled up in things. I think this is a great little system for a bushcrafter, but for a prepper, not for me. So I'm not saying don't use it, don't buy it, and I don't want to offend anyone who's got one and enjoys it. It's just not for me. A lot of the people do not like this, which is the flash jet boil, 1 litre, because they don't know how to use it, they don't know what it's for. Anyone who's been in the military will know you pop your ration pack in that. It doesn't just have to be for ration packs, you could use Wayfarer meals, anything that is boiled in the bag. So know how to use your kit and what it is for. This is a keeper. That's going back in my webbing. This is my other jet boil, also 1 litre, but it's wider, not as tall. So if I'm not doing a ration pack, what would I be doing in here? Well, in here would be things I would buy from a shop. Usually, say a curry, things like that, a rice. You'll have seen me use this a lot. If all I'm doing is bringing ration packs, I'll bring the flash, bit of real cooking, say out of a tin or some pasta. The mini mower's fine. That's all the room it takes up. Now that might look pretty big because you'll be used to seeing other people with smaller cups, but they are doing dehydrated and freeze-dried meals, just add hot water. Now I will show you a smaller cup for that purpose, but this is not for that purpose. Bit of real cooking. This is also by Jetboil. It is a skillet pan, and there's been individual videos on each of these systems you're looking at, so you can just go back and look at some of the videos I've already done. It's the same kind of concept actually as the Minimo. It's real cooking. I can do a variety of things with this. I love it. It's quite light, and I can marry this up with a liquid fuel. I can also put some cooking oil with that, and I pop it in a little clear bag like that. That is a chopping board there, and if you are a member to my channel, you'll have seen me do a beautiful steak dinner in that, a roast steak dinner. Oh, it's gorgeous. And I have some herbs and spices, some rosemary, some thyme, basil, oregano. That is spicy. Oh. So that is a little skillet pan. It's really, really thin. Doesn't take up much room. But again, it's for the weekend camper rather than the long distance trekker. And believe it or not, it doesn't take up much room in your pack because it's so thin. That just slips down the side. Tin of curry again, some pasta, some veg, boil whatever you want in. Much the same functionality as this here, the Minimo, just used completely different if I want to do an omelette or fry a steak in. Absolutely love this. It's the Primus 1 litre, different stove system. Try and lighten the deal a bit. Again, little folder cup. I don't like this folder cup. I really don't. Everything tastes of silicone. A good coffee, a really good coffee in that ruined. And I love a real coffee. But this is the Primus. It's 1 litre. This is also 1 litre. But the difference with this over this has the stove and fuel in. With this, I put the food in and a tiny little stove carried separately. We briefly touched on the point about doing freeze-dried food because it's just add hot water. Do I need a stainless steel 500ml just to boil water? No. I would use a titanium. It's a lot lighter, but you've got to be seriously into your lightweight trekking in comparison to a stainless steel like that. So it's no good, for instance, switching from stainless steel to titanium and then you've got a heavy sleep system, or you've just bought 3 or 4 cans of beer with you. It ruins what you're doing. If you really don't care about your grams, you may as well just stick to stainless steel. I do go away on a few days where I do count the grams. I'm not a gram weenie. I'm just not an idiot. I don't put beer and big bottles of booze in my pack if I've got titanium. Wouldn't work out. If you like gas canisters, you're going to need a stove for it. It's Coleman's, I think 440. I'll have a quick look. Yeah, 440 grams. What I used to think is I would need a big stove to go with a big can, but actually I do it the other way around. I've got a tiny little stove like this, which is my orange box stoves. I can get a decent pot on this. Piezo ignition, really great regulator, and I'll just put it on and fire it up just for a second. But why would I want to bring such a big can? Or perhaps I don't take it hiking. Perhaps I'll take it down by the river if I'm with some of my mates who do a bit of night fishing, or down to the beach, something like that. A nice big can, and you've got a small party with you and you're taking it at turns and just making yourself a brew. Right, I've got a big bag of things that I've not used for quite a while, and it might give you an insight that although they're great bits of kit, they just never get used. I think we'll start off with the Kelly kettle. Now, I sold my first one, kind of regretted selling it because there's nothing inherently wrong with it other than it's not what I use. So I ended up buying another one. And now I'm thinking of selling the second one that I bought. It just hasn't had the use that somebody else could have from it. This is the 600ml Kelly kettle. It does have the base along with a cup I no longer use, which is one of the BCB Crusaders. It is the aluminium. For cooking in, it has this indentation on the bottom, which I don't like. You know, if you're putting food directly in that, the food will get stuck in that ledge and make it difficult to clean. It's all right for a ration pack though. You can put one of them in, no problem. But I do like a bit of porridge oats. There is the base for the Kelly kettle, and it has this attachment here which has never really worked, needs more air holes putting in around that. So I might drill some more air holes. I'll leave it as is if it's going to get sold. So let's put the Kelly kettle on there, have a look at that. There you have it. And also in my bag should be pot stands. So let's erect it all. Very sooty. I'm going to have very dirty fingers the minute I start using this. And put my cup of choice on top like that. If all I want to do is boil 600 millilitres of water, I have better ways, or different ways. It's not always for me, this. It's the second one I've owned. Paired up with this cup here, it works quite nice. A nice little bag for it all. The BCB cup in itself, again, for reasons I've already given. Just not for me, the style of cooking I do. But nice big butterfly handles on that, riveted. Cool to the touch handles. It is anodized aluminium, so it's a lot lighter than my stainless steel. With the increment and BCB logo there. That will come with this pot lid that I had made for me, with the handle designed to fit with that there. I had a guy make me that. I've made my own also, and there's a how-to of how to make these lids on my channel. I might even sell this with the Kelly kettle as part of a package. And I know a lot of people like wood stoves. A lot of people like gas cans, and a lot of people like liquid alcohol. It's not a one-size-fits-all world, but I do get it in the comments. If I'm not using an alcohol stove or a twig stove, I'm doing something wrong. But it's just not for me. We are allowed our own individuality, believe it or not. Which brings me to these here. These remind me of the old tank suit liners. These are the trouser section, and they're quilted, zipped on the ankle. They're elasticated. They're very, very warm. I've seen a lot of people use these for horse riding, or used to. Now, of course, horse riders have their own gear. So being stationary, these are great. But like I said, fishermen, horse riders generally have their own kit anyway, but maybe somebody will appreciate these. It's not just those. It's a three-piece system that I've collected all separately, and then I'm going to combine it into one sale. This is the jacket. Great to use if you're stationary. I have used this walking. Big mistake. Just sweated out in it, and it buttons down the front here. So it is really lightweight, not overly compact though. But somebody might get some use out of that. And what if it goes any colder than needing them? I think somewhere I have the waistcoat to go under the jacket as well. So the waistcoat vest, a little body warmer. Now, some of these things, I don't know if I'm going to keep them or not. A complete set like that, you don't see often come along. You might just see the waistcoat, the jacket, or the trouser section, and they all command, you know, quite good money. So as a set, I should imagine they'd be worth quite a bit. Although I like it a lot, and it's lovely and warm, I just have other bits of kit that is lighter and more compact to do the same job. These are my Yetis. They're Gore-Tex covers for your boots. Slip your boot into there. Comes up your leg. So kind of a gaiter really, but with the foot built in, and put your boot into there. Now getting your boot into there is a nightmare, and it can kind of slip off the front here, and some lads used to actually super glue the boot on to these once they got them on, but you make it difficult to get them off, and there's full video on gaiters. I do like these, but I've just never had the call to use them. I would probably just be better off with my ECW boots and just normal gaiters. And if you're ever wondering how you wash some kit like this, don't. Just let the mud dry up, and then with a stiff brush, brush it off. Same with your Bergen. Just let the mud collect, dry out, brush it off. These need a good brush, but these are my Yetis. If you want to know more about these, again, there's a whole video just on the Yetis alone. But this is one piece of kit by Corinthia, an underquilt for your hammock. The actual insulation is paper thin. I'd say about as thin as my Jungle Army sleeping bag, the old pattern 58 Jungle. It's no thicker than that. In fact, I think my 58 Jungle would have been warmer. I actually use this like a top quilt, so it wasn't under my hammock. I used it like a top quilt over me, just to see if it's better as a top quilt, and it was equally as useless as a top quilt. The insulation is very, very poor. It fails to insulate. So it fails to insulate because it's too thin, and the fit for a hammock is not for me. I just wanted a synthetic, and I thought this would be the answer. So it is by Corinthia. It is called the HUG 180. It just tells you it's 1.2 kilos, made in Europe, and the size is 200 by 120 with G-Loft insulation. That is the only information it gives. It does claim to be good to sort of 0. It wasn't even very good on a warm summer's night. And it's not just the fact it's a really bad fit on the hammock. Like I said, even used as a top quilt, it just didn't really perform even to keep my top half warm. But that might be secondary insulation, and it works well with secondary insulation for a hammock, but that means you'd be carrying 1, 2 underquilts. I just have other underquilts that are lighter and equally as compact, which are warmer. I said in my original video that it's not for me, this. So hopefully that's already been told, otherwise I'm going to be stuck with that. Let's see what else we have here. Another underquilt. This is a real budget thing. It is by one Tigress, however you want to pronounce it. I've got a strap missing here off the side. Maybe I'll find that and put it back on. This is totally unmodified. It is like a summer quilt. And for the summer, this is great. This is actually probably warmer than the one we just saw, which is quite expensive. But this is more than adequate for them kind of temperatures where it's a warm summer's night. The build quality on it, I'm going to say, is adequately sufficient rather than superior. But although the Corinthia has superior build quality, it just fails to fit very well or insulate. The budget, this is a summer bag, is great for insulating, but the build quality is not as good as this here. This should have been a lot more superior, but on the budget, I just don't need that anymore. Also, hammock straps. These are great. Daisy chains. I've got a pair of them, obviously. When I bought them, came all the way from China a long, long time ago. And these daisy chains came as a single. And when I contacted them, they said, yeah, we sell them singularly, which I thought was odd because you need 2 for a hammock, head and foot. So I had to reorder the other 2. So why are these for sale? These are for sale, these daisy chains, just because I have others that are lighter and more compact. This is a heavyweight option, but if you are car camping or don't carry many components to your system, like me, I'm quite a minimalist, you can afford to put these in a pack, provided you don't carry many individual components to your system. But I do have others that are a lot lighter and a lot more compact. It's the only reason I'm selling these. And look, the stitching on it is fantastic. There's no wear on it. They're like new. So along my journey, I will get things lighter and more compact, hence me having a surplus which needs to be sold. So next on the list is a stove kit. It's got a bit of a story behind it, and that story will be told in a different video. But this is called the Camper by Trangia. The lid, the pot, windshield, and it is a genuine Trangia. It's not reproduction. I'm going to go into the reasons why this has got to go on a different video. But in a nutshell, it just doesn't do what I wanted it to do. These were all over the internet at one point. I just think they're really overrated. I know it's going to upset people, but I will go into the reasons why on a different video. But for someone's going to appreciate that. Trangia Camper, found it on the car boot. Nice little collector's piece. But I also have its big brother, which is the army style Trangia, a lot bigger, and it came with the Swedish mess tin. And again, I'm not mad on the Swedish mess tin itself, just has too many problems. But the stove might be all right. I'm going to have to field test that. So that is going to be another video of the army style. But this is the Camper. Maybe that's going. I'm going to stick with the theme of a bit of cooking and catering, because I do have a few bits and pieces. This is a butane stove. I've had this a while and I've used it. Not so great in the very cold weather, because I didn't use isoprop, I just used butane. But a summer stove, summer picnic, know what you're doing with this. If you've heard stories that this flares up, it's because people haven't seated the gas can in that hole properly. They have ignited with the can on. And yet, if you watch my video, there's a very simple test you can do to make sure it's not leaking at this valve here where you connect the can. I've never had any problems with it, and it's always cool to the touch on the outside, and the can just attaches to there, lays down. Big support there, so you can get a big pot or bring the legs in and put a smaller pot on. I don't think it's going to fetch very much money. It wasn't much money to begin with. It's a nice little stove. The water I'll need to take, I got these, but there's a 58 pack, and this is the Avon. The Avon was for your NBC, and used to put the tube in the top, and then the tube into your gas mask for water. Quite unusual. I do like the shape. They're a little slimmer and a little taller. This one has a broken loop there, so I'm going to replace that. Replace the lid, but the bottles just go on for years and years. They're really rugged, and so is the Avon. I don't know whether to keep them for a different bug out bag, because these fit the Dutch pouches, as where this doesn't. Another stove. This, I'm not too sure who makes it. I think it's a clone. Probably paid less than a tenner for this originally, and it's going to be worth every penny as well. So I'll get my money back on this. Piezo ignition. It's a good size pot support there for small pots and bigger pots, and has 3 stabilizing legs. The rose bloom stove head and the connection for an ISO prop with a regulator here. Turn the flame up, turn the flame down. A little weighty for a camp because I just have lighter that does the same job. Same reason for the picnic stove you just saw. I have lighter to do the same job. But along with the BCB bottle, this is quite tatty actually. I have the cup. Fits in like that, so it's a 2-part, and there is a stainless steel cook pot that sits on top of that, and I'm keeping them. So there's the Avon, there's the BCB with the beaker. The old style folding mess tins, I have a few of these, so these will be in a pile, and I don't know, some maybe 50 pence, somebody might want one. The ones that are worth quite a bit of money are the ones that have been welded there, and these are riveted, because this one is aluminium. Aluminium needs the rivets. Stainless steel will have the weld, and the stainless steel ones are worth quite a bit of money. Boiling water in it for a drink. Again, do your own research whether you'd want to cook with aluminium at all, but somebody might have application to use this for something else other than food. Still got a lot more in the bag as well. Speaking of bags, a bivvy bag. MTP, this is a spare. I have a newer one. So I was going to make a project with 2 bivvy bags. I've knocked that project on the head. So I do have a spare. I have different camos. I have the olive drab and I have the DPM and 2 MTPs. I don't need all them. So at least one of them can go. It's in really great condition. It has signs of wear. There's nothing damaged at all on it, and all the seams are intact. So let's put that down there. What else do I have? A liner for the British Army Modular Sleeping Bag System. This is the cotton liner. It's all colour coded with the tags there to go into your sleeping bag. Keep it clean, and then that way you're not cleaning your sleeping bag as often, because cleaning the sleeping bag can degrade the insulation. But that is a fix for that. I just don't like using these. It's just as easy to have a wash before you get in your bag. Put that there. I have a few of these rocket pockets for Bergens. I have all I need, and that means I have some leftovers. I think these are going to be online about 12 quid. The 10 litres, zip onto the side of your Bergen. Then you have the extra QR clips there, and hooded NSN number. Not much more to say about these. I do have a yoke here. This will go onto a webbing. It'll also fit the rocket. I'm going to have a look online, see how much these are going for. It's in lovely condition. It's all intact. I was going to strip it all apart just for the buckles and the webbing alone, but I'll probably get a couple of quid for that. These are Lifesaver bottles. It's a water filterization system which includes a carbon filter and a ceramic filter. So the water is going to taste fantastic, as where the tracking filters, most of them don't have the carbon element or the ceramic, so the water tastes and smells pretty rank at best, but it's it's drinkable. That's where this lovely, clean, fresh water, and I have a couple of these, even empty. It's got to be 2 kilos. Great for environmental disasters where you're handing these out, but in a bug out bag, too heavy, and boiling water will do the same job. Again, I have another one, like I said, I have a few of these, but I'm not sure how much these would go for used. 58 belt. If this still fits, I think I might keep it because it goes around one of my jackets really nice, and they'll hold up my softy trousers because they're oversized at best. I'm just going to see, yeah, it will close, and I have fitted it to size. I think I'm keeping this. I like that. I don't know why I put that in there. I have quite an array of bits and pieces. Some will go on the internet, some will go on tabletop store, and other bits and pieces will be the gloves here. These are by Combat UK, leather gloves. I just have a better pair, so these can go. These are by Combat UK. I'm not keen on that company. They sell a lot of kiddie gear along with the adult gear, and sometimes it's hard to tell what you're going to get, whether you're getting something fit for children or some quality gear. So if you want quality gear, go to Army Surplus stores. If you are using companies like this, you know, that have military style, they're not going to be the proper thing. I have the proper thing. They were just to handle hot pots and so forth when I'm camping, but like I said, better pair. I have a better pair. This was originally going to be kind of a survival tin with all my bits and pieces in, because I can hold water in that and boil water in that, but I think that will go. I just have other options. This is a hammock sock. I'm not going to get it out, but a windshield that goes around your hammock. You still need your tarp above you, but that will keep the wind off apparently. But I don't use it that much. So that is an internet sale. Spare t-shirts, I have a few of these. This one I've just found a little hole in. I think whoever wants this, I'll just give it them. I'm not going to get even 50 pence for that, not worth collecting. Mobile phone holder attaches to your arm, which is really great for when you're hiking. You can put it on your wrist like this. Has a clear touch screen window here, waterproof, and of course it'd be usually worn a lot higher up. I'm just have a thick coat on. That was an idea I had, and I don't like putting mobile phones into my pocket, trouser pocket here, because when your backpack is clipped round your waist, it's hard to access that pocket if you keep your phone in it, unless you have cargo trousers, but that's another option. And I even have the vestibule here for a tent. This is for the Vango Orion. I'm sure it'll fit other tents, elasticated. I don't use it. I'd rather just have the grassed area when I open up the tent. You're going to meet grass anyway, and my boots can rest on the grass. It doesn't need that. I think I'm more or less done, but totally unrelated, on night cameras. So I have illumination here in infrared and an infrared camera for my night camps. Didn't really work out because the battery absolutely drains with infrared, but a double system there, I don't know how much it's worth. I'll put it on eBay and just see what I get for it. And that's me done. Got some other bits and pieces that are unrelated. That's it. A whole plethora of goodies, which should bring in a bit of money so I can buy more kit, make more videos. This is why I need to sell kit to fund more kit to make more videos. And if you can't find the super thanks under the video, use the 3 dots and it'll say super thanks and you can donate towards the channel, because this channel does not make a living for me and it's all reinvested back into the channel. Until next time, take care of yourself and I'll see you out there. Happy trails.